They sent Victoria Nuland, they sent Jake Sullivan, they sent Bill Burns, they sent Lloyd Austin, they sent everyone to Brazil to meet and to put pressure on government and some military officials to not question the election results.
Joining me now, award-winning journalist and grandson of former Brazilian President Jair Figueiredo. I'm working on this, right? Very special guest, Paulo Figueiredo. How did I do?
You did great, my friend. Good to see you.
Before we went on air, I'm talking to Paulo. I'm like, I don't want to screw this up. And he's running through every single syllable. And I think I did okay. I wanted to, Figueiredo. Good?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
How are you doing, my friend?
Better than I deserve.
Yeah. It's great to talk to you. Look, I've been following your story. I've been following Brazil very closely. And what's happening over there. There's so many parallels to the United States and Brazil. You saw what they tried to do to President Trump between 2020 and 2024. And we've seen this now spread through Brazil. We've seen it spread through Romania and other parts of the world where they're like, no problem. Let's just prosecute people, make them out to be criminals, and then we don't have to worry about them getting elected anymore, right? And then in any questioning, any funny business about an election, well, that makes you an election denier. And that makes you a bad person and a threat to democracy. And then we must prosecute, right? And we've seen this in Brazil. You've been covering it extensively. And now because you're covering it, free speech, God forbid, now they've turned their sights on you. Can you talk about what is happening in Brazil? Because people in the United States need to pay attention on how this is spreading around the world and why what we do here directly impacts freedom and democracy around the globe.
Well, I often say that Brazil and the U.S. have the same virus. We just have different immune systems. Everything that's happening in Brazil happened some way or the other in the United States, and it was actually created within the United States and exported by the Department of State worldwide. That's why you see so many similarities between what's happening in the United States and in other countries. This weaponization of the judicial system is something that was created in the United States. They tried to do with President Trump what they are doing with former President Bolsonaro. For our audience that are not familiar with who President Bolsonaro is, he is considered the Trump of the tropics. He was elected in 2018, 2 years after President Trump got elected here in the United States for the first time. Also very conservative, with part of the same national populist movement, an outsider that went against traditional partisan politics in Brazil. And he did a government very much aligned with the government of President Trump. Again, in 2020 in the United States, in 22 in Brazil, the establishment found a way to pretty much steal the election. They stole the election here, they stole the election in Brazil, different methods, but the same strategy. And President Bolsonaro obviously had to leave power. And anyone that tried to question it was called election denier. Everything was called a big lie. People revolted and stormed the government buildings in Brazil in January 8th instead of January 6th. People were called domestic terrorists and sent to prison for very long sentences. There was a congressional committee trying to investigate it. They deleted evidence in Brazil. There were signs of agent provocateurs and deep state agents infiltrated. We even had the head of security of the Brazilian government handing bottles of waters to protesters that were inside the building. So many similarities. People were sent to prison for 2 decades in very harsh sentence, more than 1,000 people in prison. And then President Bolsonaro is now being prosecuted for a so-called coup d'etat, something like an insurrection. So you can't make this up. It's so similar that looks like a Bollywood version of an American movie in Brazil. So that's the way it is.
I mean, you're right. It is shockingly similar. Considering how shockingly similar it is, you have to wonder, it's the same playbook. Well, who's writing the playbook then?
Well, that's a very good question. That's hard to answer without getting to conspiracy theories, but I'll give you the facts.
They're hypotheses now. They're not theories anymore. Every conspiracy theory has proven true, at least here over the last few years. So I'm calling these conspiracy hypotheses. But please proceed.
Well, what's happened? Actually, we know some facts. Just for example, we know that the USAID more than triple the amount of money sent to Brazil when Bolsonaro became the president. We also know that the USAID, American taxpayer, funded all the disinformation combat initiatives in Brazil. We also know that the Department of State helped the Brazilian electoral courts that were persecuting anyone that questioned the electoral results in Brazil. We also know for a fact that in the same year, and that never happened before, the United States sent some top officials, the election year of Bolsonaro, the election year actually of Lula, that Bolsonaro was running for re-election. They sent Victoria Nuland, they sent Jake Sullivan, they sent Bill Burns, they sent Lloyd Austin, they sent everyone to Brazil to meet and to put pressure on government and some military officials to not question the election results. So I don't know who's writing the playbook, but I'm pretty sure it comes from here, and it was funded by American taxpayer money.
Wow. So as far as the next phase in this, I got about a minute left. You, of course, they've turned their sights on you. You're just a journalist. Not just, you're a great journalist. But I'm saying you're a journalist. You're not in government, yet they don't like what you have to say about it. So what are they trying to do to you?
Well, they're trying to put me in prison for 40 years in the same case as Bolsonaro because I pretty much reported what was going on in the discussions that were happening in 2022. What's happening right now in Brazil is that obviously the president, who's the socialist Lula da Silva, won't give a presidential pardon like Trump did with the J6ers. But the Congress in Brazil is discussing an amnesty bill that should be discussed, should reach the floor within the next 2 weeks or so. If granted, it would release President Bolsonaro from prison and also anyone else that was politically persecuted, just like myself. The problem right now is that the Speaker of the Brazilian House is under threat of the Justice of the Supreme Court that rules the country, Alexandre de Moraes, the guy that was sanctioned under the Global Magnitsky Act by the Trump administration 2 weeks ago. So a lot of going on in Brazil. Brazil is going to decide its destiny in the next month or so, in a way. So it's very exciting times.
Wow. Paulo Figueiredo, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to watch your case very closely. People should, I mean, you have all the followers in the world. I don't know if there's any followers left for you to collect, but if people want to follow you and follow your work and everything that's going on, where can they go?
They can go at Rio P. Figueiredo, as they see on the screen. It's hard to pronounce, but easy to type. So go ahead, and I'll be there.
Fantastic. Thank you, my friend. It has been an honor getting to know you, and it is my honor to have you on this show as well. And we'll talk again real soon.
Se você, como eu, tá dormindo mais tranquilo agora que o Trump voltou à presidência, ótimo. Mas e o Brasil? Nosso país continua no buraco. A volta do Trump nos dá esperança, mas as coisas não vão se resolver sozinhas. Vai ser preciso muito trabalho, meu e seu. E não adianta xingar muito nas redes sociais achando que isso resolve alguma coisa. Não tem salvador da pátria. Não tem um político que vai resolver por você. A responsabilidade é sua. Eu larguei tudo para me dedicar a isso. E você? Como você pode ajudar sem abandonar as suas obrigações? Simples. Apoie quem está na linha de frente. Sem isso, esse trabalho simplesmente não continua. Acesse www.paulofigueiredoshow.com/apoie e com a partir de $5 por mês, garanta que isso siga em frente. Se puder ir além, torne-se meu patrono Gold e participe do meu grupo privado e ajude a definir as minhas próximas pautas. A diferença entre vencer e perder está na ação. Durma tranquilo, sabendo que você fez a sua parte.